It's been a great day so far. Great vibes. Off rip, off rip. Uh, First impressions. I have to give it a 9 out of 10. Absolute 9 out of 10. Easy. I was darn near at tears after that first cutscene. You hooked me. You hooked me emotionally, intellectually. Just yeah. Rogue Snail Team. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. 9 out of 10. Again, the only critique that we would offer, and again, I want to sit with this more. I want to play a little bit more off stream, but I'm just gonna hop off for today for right now. But in terms of my overall review, just to kind of round that out, in terms of story, the story is an absolute 10 out of 10. In terms of the user interface, it's an absolute 10 out of 10. Everything is easily legible. It's very accessible. They're great descriptors to everything. I think the only thing that would potentially move it to like a 9.5 out of 10 is having a little bit more clarity on what the gear score actually means. For me, it's a 10 out of 10 for me because I'm someone who plays JRPGs, RPGs in general, MMORPGs, story-based games, games where you already have to like think about build crafting, think about these different things. So when I read Gear Score 6, in my mind, I already kind of, from my lived experience, I already have a kind of understanding of like, oh, well, there means that there's different scores for different pieces of gear, right? So in this piece of gear, it's gear score 10. And so like higher gear score, better, attributes, better things that are going to help you in, bigger battles. And so for me, I inherently know that. I think, having some type of debrief somewhere, that lets folks understand what a gear score is, what the different like mobility or different like attributes you can do for these weapons are. Obviously reload speed, it's pretty straightforward, but for anything that deals with like elemental defense or deals with like just about how it impacts your character, I think it would be great to have that. But overall for me, again, that's why we're talking about our review. For me, it's a 10 out of 10. I think for the public, it's probably a 9.5 out of 10. But literally, it's you're grasping at straws at this point because overall, it's just been a beautiful experience. Gameplay loop. The gameplay loop for me is very engaging. When we drop back out and we're taking a look at what we have to offer, my computer is messing up a little bit, but you get the general sense that like when we are out here in the realm, or if we take a step back to the galaxy realm, we have the ability to not only look at what planets we have available, but also we have a very clear picture of what we get to do in each space. And so knowing that there's a lot of things to accomplish in the game, for me, it's just really great. And also the fact that, like, again, going back to, taking a step back to what we said, 10 out of 10 for the storyline, big part of that is not just the story they're telling, it's also the way that they're layering it in. And the fact that you have the main story missions that you get to do and obviously have the most XP ranks and all the different things, that's very normal for a game like this. But also, the side quests, with the side quests feel valuable. They don't feel like this kind of add-on that like if you're a completionist you'll do the side quest or whatever. It feels like a very much interlaced, integrated aspect of the gameplay, and it really feels like a whole story. It at the same time doesn't feel incomplete, right? It doesn't feel like I'm missing things if I don't go talk to Pinky or Tina or Vitus or any of the other characters and do those side quests, but it does feel like an enhancement on the overall main story quest. And then on top of that, we get to do the hunter story quest. So we get to learn about the other hunters on our team. And again, which I think is a huge part. If these are people who are our co-hosts or co-cast in defeating, whether it be the Kami King or defeating the Supreme Commander General, whoever else, the fact that we have a strong team that we can learn about that, for folks who have been here for when we talk about TV shows, movies, or anime, I'm a big proponent of being able to have good villains, to being able to have like good protagonists, have good supporting casts. You just don't need like one or two people who are carrying the script, carrying the narrative. You need everyone to be contributing. And I feel like in this realm and the way they've built it out, absolutely 10 out of 10. The only thing that brings overall score down to a 9 out of 10 is the friendship mode. Again, it's just not intuitive enough. There's not enough information. We've listened or read out all the dialogue boxes. We've learned, all the little splash screens that give you instructions. We've read those, and it's just not clear on what the parameters to do the party function are. My assumption has been that you need to get to rebel rank 1. Try and say that 10 times, but my assumption is that you have to get to rebel rank 1 in order to be able to which is this little corner up here. Here's another way to look at it. So we're almost there, but I just feel like it would have been more cohesive or more fluid if you were able to like add friends off the base. And so we talked about this earlier for folks who came in at different points in the stream. But again, I do have like Steam friends I can like invite to a party and add. I have people who I got match made with for skirmish or the payload that I can like, play with. And again, that's a really cool feature that you're able to, rejoin people that you just started playing with. But the fact that I can't even add friends, it does, I'm not going to fully say it like rubs me the wrong way, but it does kind of feel like logically it feels off of like, why do I get to like play with, in this case, complete strangers, or like people who I know well enough to add as my Steam friends, versus just being able to game with my community, right? And so it's not really like terrible. It's still closed beta. I'm sure there's a lot of features, and again, with any type of matchmaking, I can assume that there's just so many different layers and hoops and different connection speeds, and there's so many things you have to factor into all that. So again, we're not knocking the company as a whole. It's more of like, this would be nice to have had the ability to just literally, for this not to be grayed out from, again, once we complete the tutorial and finish the first intro quest, to have that immediate access to be like, hey, community, come in, join on in. We're going to game, have fun together. I would have loved that. That's the only thing that's kind of a bummer. Again, not a huge, like knock against the game. We're going to continue to test, because again, we looked it up even earlier to see if there's like an article that tells you how you get to open this up. But again, no articles are out there. It doesn't tell you in game. And so the kind of layered, barriers to be able to like just game with community members, especially as a content creator, does kind of not feel the greatest. But other than that, like, I think the Rogue Snail team, round of applause. What else can I say? Just have done a phenomenal job. So glad I even had the privilege and opportunity to game with this on stream today. I cannot understate how much I truly appreciate everyone who watches and engages with the content. The likes on the live streams, the engagement, it really helps with the algorithm, because again, we don't just do live streams here, we also do long form content. And so all of the engagement helps out the channel a lot. It helps us be able to grow. And one day we'll have, support, financial support from like sponsors and ads, where I can like not have such a crummy computer and we can do other things. And yeah, Rogue Snail, holler at me. I'm trying to be y'all best friend. I'm trying to be all y'all best friends, like literally all y'all, because it's just been such a good vibe. And so so much appreciative. Again, with that, we are going to go ahead and head out. The beta is closing soon, but we will kind of continue to move forward and see what we can do with this game. But I loved it. I appreciate everyone being here. Y'all know the vibes.